So how many of you all thought Antoine was a youth instead of a policeman? That's what I thought too. I'm sitting there giving him encouragement before he goes up there. I didn't know he was a pro, Antoine. He's ignoring me right now. He doesn't know I'm talking about him. So when I said that earlier about if you have to ask the question, am I a youth, don't stand up, I thought you were a youth and would have stood up. So anyway, just shows you. So how many of you all are enjoying this program? Great. Wonderful. I know that I am, and I've learned so much. I've learned so much today, and those of you who know me know that I always carry a notebook, and I think I've gotten, what's my number up there? I think I'm on like 12 pages of notes already. Oh, excuse me, 15. That's because that's how good you guys are. That's how rich this information is. And if you haven't had a chance to actually speak to the young folks who are here today, please make sure you make time to talk with them, say hello to them, and most importantly, say thank you to them. So now, the highlight of the afternoon. Antoine, you were good. You were good. But we've got a speaker coming who is powerful, dynamic, and happens to be my boss. But in May of last year, we came here to Baltimore for some other things, but it is wonderful to be back here in Baltimore on a day when we're here to celebrate something good, something positive. And with having all of you all here, this is a celebration. And I hope that you remember that. It's hard work. What you're doing is hard work, but make sure you make the time to celebrate what you're doing, celebrate your successes, because you're doing great things. Now, how many of you recognize how good you are? Right. You are really, really good. And we're so thankful to have this partnership with you all. And, I know we're going to thank him again later, but are you enjoying our MC here? Even though he claims he doesn't know anything about social media and trending, trust me, he knows what trending means, and we're all so happy that we are trending right now, and that's because of the great work that you all are doing and how excited your own communities are. And I'm not sure who's watching us on the webcast, but we are so grateful for your interest in this and that you are taking the time to sign on and watch us and learn from this program as well. So, we are going to have an exciting program on Wednesday. How many of you all are staying through till Wednesday? Yes. Because we've got something nice and interactive. Is it a secret what we're doing on Wednesday? Okay, good. I just had to make sure. You're going to get to vote on Wednesday. Not for president, for something even better. We've had, as you've heard, we've had a wonderful initiative about how to build community trust, and I know that's been a focus of a lot of the work that you all are doing, that it is so critical and key to creating safe communities, is having a strong relationship between communities and law enforcement. So we had a competition, and you're going to get to vote on the two finalists for the competition to create an awareness campaign among young people. So does that mean that more of you are going to stay now till Wednesday? Is that a yes? Is that a yes? I think it is. So, hold on. Let me ask you something.
Show you all what I do. I do this for a living. It's my second job. Even better.
See how flexible he is? Usually he can read my mind. We're sitting in meetings. You know he's my chief of staff. And we sit in meetings sometimes and he shakes his head no. Or even better, he sits behind me and kicks my chair trying to tell me stop. And as you saw this morning, I ignore him on a strategic basis. But now, we've got the lady of the hour, the most important law enforcement officer in the country. So in May of last year, a little more than a week into her new job, Attorney General Loretta Lynch came to this city in the wake of the unrest following the death of Freddie Gray and announced her intention to work with this community to, as she put it, create a stronger and better Baltimore. That's why we picked Baltimore to come today to demonstrate our support for Baltimore. Attorney General Lynch has been working hard ever since to strengthen ties between citizens and the justice system, all in the service of greater public safety, and all to give the youngest members of our communities the chance they need and deserve to succeed. You will not find a more passionate advocate on behalf of young people, a more passionate advocate on behalf of law enforcement, a more passionate advocate on behalf of strengthening our communities than Attorney General Lynch. We are very fortunate to have a leader with her experience and passion, and I speak for everyone at the Office of Justice Programs and from the Department of Justice as a whole of how proud we are to have her leading the Department of Justice and fighting for our youth. Please join me in welcoming the Attorney General of the United States, Loretta Lynch.
Well, oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon. Well, sounds like we have a lot of energy here in Baltimore. That's a good thing, because we have a lot of work to do on this important issue. Let me thank you, Karol, for that kind introduction, as well as for your leadership of the Department's Office of Justice Programs. It's our grant management program, but it really, in many ways, exemplifies the true meaning of the Department of Justice, which is to be available in every way possible to the people in the communities that depend on us. And so thank you, Karol, for making that real for so many people, as well as your outstanding staff. I'm so glad to see you here. Rod, so glad to see you, my U.S. Attorney here in Baltimore, a leader in both cases and the community. Thank you for your support and your leadership over the years of so many important programs and matters. And let me also thank the leadership of the My Brother's Keeper Task Force and the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention for all of their hard work in organizing this important summit. Now, I say hard work not to imply that it's difficult to get people to commit to this issue, but I know that all of you are so busy. You are working in the field every day. You are focused like a laser on the needs and issues and concerns of our young people. So finding time to come together and take a few minutes out to think and to talk and to plan can sometimes be the biggest challenge of all. If you're like me, you find that time is the hardest commodity to come by. And so I'm so glad that all of you were able to take that short break. And I know that this will be rejuvenating for you. Like so many important initiatives, you will learn so much from the people in this room, from your colleagues, from everyone who is so dedicated and devoted to this important issue. Everyone who's so focused on our shared commitment to ensuring that every young person in the United States, in this great country of ours, can grow up in safety and in security, free from harm, free from fear, and free from the shadow of violence. Now, as your work tells you every day, and as all of us know all too well, that shadow clouds the lives of far too many young people in this country. Now, national crime rates are at an historic low, and we are, of course, tremendously grateful for that. But a number of cities have experienced increases in homicides and violent crime. And these crimes include crimes involving young people. In the United States, homicide is the third leading cause of death for young people between the ages of 10 and 24. And every day in America, 13 young people are murdered in our country. 13. This means that every day, 13 young people are robbed of their chance to live a full and productive life. It also means that every day 13 families lose a child. There is no greater pain, no more devastating loss. And every day the country, our country, loses 13 people who might have grown up to defend the vulnerable, to heal the sick, to inspire a community, to lead a city, to raise a family, or to chart a future. And today, at this time, in this country, in America, this is simply unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And as awful as the numbers are, the numbers don't even tell the whole story, because the dead are far from the only victims of violence. The effects are felt far beyond a crime scene. They inflict invisible wounds on all who live in its presence. There are the families whose existence is forever punctuated by the world before their loss and the darkness after. And there are the other young people, our other children, still with us. Children who grow up accustomed to the sound of gunshots, who go to school where disputes are resolved with fists instead of words, and who are raised in homes that are full of conflict, not comfort. Children who attend the funerals of relatives and friends and peers and neighbors with tragic regularity. These children too, these families too, are also the victims of violence. Now that we know that exposure to violence at a young age is associated with so many long-term issues, physical issues, mental and emotional harm. We know it puts young people at greater risk of failing in school. We know it puts young people at greater risk of struggling to find and hold a job. And we know that it makes it more likely that they will become involved with the juvenile and criminal justice system. Well, of course, because how can you hold life dear when you have seen it go for almost nothing? Now, these are, of course, significant consequences with profound implications, not only for young people directly affected by violence, not only for the communities where violence is a constant presence and for the families who bear its costs, but these have profound implications for all of us, every single one of us. Because violence deprives us all of the skills and the talents of a large portion of our population. It prevents our country from fulfilling its potential. It sows feelings of alienation, mistrust, and contributes to a pernicious cycle of poverty and crime and incarceration that has taken a terrible toll on our families, on our communities, and on our country. But above all, it degrades our highest ideals, our founding promise that every person, everyone in this great country of ours has a right to safety, a right to equality, and a right to opportunity. Now, at the Department of Justice, we are determined to use every tool at our disposal to prevent and to reduce and to end this violence, especially against our young people, and to make that founding promise real for all of our children. And that's why we are so committed to working with partners across the federal government as part of the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention. This forum was President Obama established in 2010 to raise awareness about this critical issue. It's an issue not just of public safety, but of public health. And to support the community's efforts to address this issue, as one of the agencies leading the forum, we are engaged with our federal partners across the administration and with diverse stakeholders around the country to learn about and to promote what works to prevent youth and gang violence. We're engaged to support innovative solutions and to create durable progress. Now, just some of the things that we've been able to do so far, through the help not just of Karol and her outstanding staff, but of many of you in this room. We've provided funding and support to help reduce violence in Boston, to help increase school attendance in Long Beach, and to help promote safe communities in New Orleans. And in New Orleans in particular is a success story, and I'm incredibly proud to note that we've realized a more than 30% drop in homicides in New Orleans in just the last year alone. More than 30%. And as I think, frankly, the key is because we're teaming up with all of you. We are joining with the faith and community-based organizations. We're joining with youth and family groups. We're joining with business and philanthropic leaders in neighborhoods from coast to coast. Our U.S. Attorney's Office, not just Rod, but all of his colleagues, are working closely with local law enforcement and elected leaders in their districts to reduce violent crime and to build capacity and promote holistic responses to violence and its consequences. Now, we at the Justice Department, all of us who are so committed to this issue, we're proud to play a key role in this groundbreaking administration-wide effort. Truly, this cuts across all departments. I know you're hearing from other cabinet secretaries throughout your conference, and I hope that you also grasp from that how important this is to all of us. It's one of the many ways that we are looking to respond to milestone number 6 of My Brother's Keeper, keeping kids on the right track and giving them second chances. And we will continue to contribute to this forum going forward. Now, in addition to the federal efforts that we're working on, there's so much more because, of course, there's so much more work to do. We're also working at the Department of Justice. We're working to advance a number of comprehensive and collaborative initiatives with our state and local partners, because we understand that the best way to make a difference in communities is to work hand in hand with the people who live and work in our communities every day. And through the community-based violence prevention demonstration program, which is managed by our Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, I think I see Bob Listonby here. Thank you for running that with us so well, Bob. We're supporting communities as they bring together local law enforcement officers, service providers, faith organizations, and residents to develop evidence-based strategies for addressing public safety challenges that will result in less gun violence and more civic engagement. It's a long list of people who are coming together, an important goal, but the most important thing in that sentence that I just said is that they're bringing them together, because together is how we have to conquer this challenge. Together is how we have to face it. Together is how we have to identify it. And also through our Office of Justice Program's Diagnostic Center, we're helping local policymakers use data to make more effective law enforcement decisions at no cost to their municipalities, because we know that our cities and our communities have been hit with resource drains equal to our own and sometimes greater. Our Violence Reduction Network, a network of cities across the country in which we're focusing on the root causes of violence in unique communities. Our Violence Reduction Network gives local law enforcement agencies in 13 cities access to the full range of the Justice Department's tools for combating violent crime, including customized training and technical assistance, because the roots of violence are different in every community, and so we want to make available to communities what they need best, what they know will help them the most. And our Defending Childhood initiative encourages local communities to adopt evidence-based treatment for children who've been affected by violence, and helps them revise the policies and practices within the public systems that serve children and their families. Now, these are all vital steps. I'm tremendously proud, not just of the work that we've been able to do, but the partnerships that we have been able to craft. I'm so happy that we're able to do this, but I'm also well aware none of these efforts on the behalf of the department would be possible without the participation and the partnership of everyone in this room, as well as all the organizations whom you represent, citizens and leaders like you. The tools that I've outlined are the tools that we use for, but most importantly, we use with all of you. And after all, you know your communities best. You've got the legitimacy and the authority to convince the disparate groups to come together, to open and to have those difficult conversations, and to propose new approaches. You're the ones who know which schools are grappling with the highest dropout rates and which neighborhoods are plagued by gangs, and also which children are struggling with turbulent homes. Now, we understand that we need multifaceted solutions to our challenges, and that supportive environments at home, at school, and in the community are essential for preventing violence. We know all of this, but you are our eyes and our ears. Most importantly, you are an extension of our heart, and we rely on you to help us direct our resources and apply our expertise where they can have the greatest impact. And we will continue to depend upon you, to listen to you, and to work with you in the days ahead to further our progress toward the more just and peaceful society that we know is possible, toward the safe and warm and happy home that every child deserves, and toward the nurturing community and school system that every community wants to achieve. All of this, everything that we have listed, everything that we're working on, is nothing more and nothing less than a tremendous team effort. And let me tell you, I am so proud to be on your team. I am with you. Now, I've listed a lot of problems and raised a lot of issues that I know you all are discussing in depth. And I also know that sometimes this focus that we have to bring on these problems can make our progress seem so slow. You know, it's almost as if the hill just gets higher. But we won't build the perfect society overnight. But as I look out over this gathering of advocates and academics, volunteers and students, pastors, police officers, public servants, I am actually confident about the direction in which we are headed. Because again, I'm following all of you. I am so excited about what we're going to achieve, and I am inspired by your work. Faced with the darkest days that our citizens encounter, you never turn away. Your courage, your faith, your determination to meet the greatest test of our time is what will carry us through these challenges. And you've already taken the most important step. Faced with daunting challenges, you have joined the struggle. That's the first thing that all of us have to do. Encountering these persistent problems, you rose above the easy temptations of cynicism and despair. How many of us know people full of promise who get pulled down by those twin evils? And confronted with the darkest impulses of mankind, particularly the shadow that can reach across our children, you have responded with light. You have responded with compassion. You have responded with love. It is people like you that have made this country great. You are the ones who brought us through the darkest hours of our past. You are the ones who are pointing the way to a brighter future for us all. And one of the reasons I'm so glad to be here today is to be able to say thank you. Thank you for that dedication. Thank you for that commitment. Thank you for always turning towards the light when it's so easy to fall back into the shadows. Thank you for working to build what Dr. King called the beloved community. Thank you for believing that it is possible. And I know that together we will make it so. Thank you so much for letting me spend a few minutes with you here today as you take a break in the important work that you are doing to keep our children, to keep our families, and to keep our nation safe. Thank you so very much.